What's up guys, my name is Marc Steiner, and today we are testing out the brand new AirPods Pro 2. Let's get right into it. So right off the bat, there's not a whole lot that's different physically with the AirPods Pro 2 compared to the first generation. The charging case is now more weather sealed than before, and it can now be wirelessly charged with an Apple Watch charger, which is really cool. Speaking of charging, the case still features the Lightning port, so if you don't want to charge wirelessly, you're stuck with it. Luckily, Apple does provide a cable in the case. The two other changes on the charging case is that it now features this little lanyard port if you want to put a lanyard through it. More significantly is the speakers on the charging case. So they now emit a ringtone when you plug them in to charge, or you can ping them with an audio cue, which is really helpful. I know a lot of people lose the case as well as their AirPods, so that's really nice. Now on to what everyone actually cares about, the actual AirPods. Again, not much is physically different with the second generation AirPods Pro. Most people won't be able to tell the difference between the Gen 1 and the Gen 2. Most of these upgrades are happening internally because of the new chip that Apple put in these. That chip is the reason that we're getting better noise canceling, better music reproduction, better transparency mode, better mic quality, as well as better spatial features, if you're into that. I'm not really into that, but I know that some people are. So let's start off with the noise canceling, because I think this is one of the main features that I was curious about. I've been using these out and about in the city, and honestly, I'm pretty impressed. I think it was a worthy upgrade compared to its predecessor. It does a very, very good job of blocking out the city noise, of blocking out the low end, as well as a pretty decent job of the high end. Are they as good as the noise canceling on the AirPods Max? No, nor do I expect them to be. The AirPods Max are more than double the price of these, as well as the fact that they're over-ear headphones with a lot more powerful capabilities. So in something in this price point, at something in this form factor, I'm very impressed, and it's right up there with the best, if not the best, on the market. I found that when I'm not listening to anything, the noise cancellation does a pretty good job of blocking everything out, but the second I start listening to something, I can't really hear anything in the background, so I think that's perfectly fine. In addition to the noise cancelling, I'm actually very grateful that Apple offered a brand new size of the silicone tips. Personally, I have pretty small ears, so it's really nice to see that they now have an extra small size just for me. This makes me feel so seen, and I love it, and they fit in my ears perfectly. And I think this was one of the reasons why I never got the original AirPods Pro, because I know that in-ear earphones don't always fit my ears the way I want them to, but I've had no issue with the extra small ear tips. They've stayed in my ears. I've had no issues. I've been shaking my head. I've done some workouts in them, and they're great. I love them. I'm so glad that there's a smaller tip. And I know some people prefer the foam tips. I honestly prefer the silicone tips, so I'm very glad that Apple decided to stick with the silicone tips as well as give us a smaller size. Now on to audio quality. I've been using the Gen 3 AirPods for quite a while now, and I kind of got accustomed to that kind of sound signature as well as the adaptive EQ. I've been really impressed with how good those sound, especially coming from such a small package. So I expected the AirPods Pro 2 to be even better, and they are. I think that they took that same kind of adaptive EQ, that same engine, and put it into their higher quality product, and it sounds great. The low end and the bass is really good on these. It sounds really good for something that's this small. It surprised me, honestly. And the vocals on this are just so clean, so crisp. I absolutely love the way that these sound. I think overall these have a very, very pleasing sound, and if you're used to that Apple sound signature, you're going to be very happy with these. I know that some people are going to be a little bit upset that there's still no actual proper EQ, but I think that the fact that Apple has developed their own kind of adaptive EQ kind of compensates for that, because you're getting clear sound no matter what, and it's a very good sounding sound profile. So I have no issues with that. Coming from my AirPods Max experience, this sounds very similar to that kind of sound. It's not as wide of a soundstage, but it is a very similar sound profile, and it sounds very pleasing to my ears. Transparency mode is one of those things I absolutely love about the Apple ecosystem, especially on my AirPods Max. It sounds like you're not even wearing anything. And with these AirPods Pro 2, transparency mode is still ahead of everything else on the market. It is still the gold standard, and it sounds great. It's not as good as the AirPods Max version of transparency mode, but it's very, very respectable. It sounds like you don't have anything in there. I can tell coming from the AirPods Max that this sounds a little bit more not realistic, but barely. barely. These sound so good for transparency mode. It sounds like you don't have earphones in, and I love that it just pumps in your surrounding sounds in a very natural and realistic way with no delay, which is very important to me. Now, I know that Apple talked about the adaptive transparency mode where it'll kind of mute the loud sounds when you're in transparency mode, but pump in the rest of your environment. I currently haven't really experienced this adaptive transparency mode. It just sounds like regular transparency mode to me. So I don't know exactly what to look for and what to expect out of this adaptive transparency mode. My experience has been very good so far. I know a lot of people love the spatial audio effects and Dolby Atmos features that these have to offer. I am just not one of those people who enjoys it. I still don't think the technology has matured enough that it's actually been processed well in most songs, and to me, in most circumstances, it sounds really, really bad. So when someone says it sounds amazing, maybe it does for one particular song, but as a whole, I'm still listening in stereo and I much prefer that experience, but that's just me. The one noteworthy physical change on these earbuds is that the stems are now touch capacitive, so you can use the up-down swipe to change the volume if you so wish. In actual practice, I've found it somewhat helpful. It's a little bit finicky, and I feel like when I'm swiping up and down, it kind of moves them in my ears, so I prefer adjusting the volume on my Apple Watch or on my phone. But in a pinch, you can swipe up and down and it works. Battery life on these things is very impressive, with the earbuds themselves holding a charge for about 6 hours and the case giving you up to an additional 30 hours. So that's 36 hours of playback on a full charge. That's really, really good. That can get most people through an entire week if they need that. Me personally, I found myself charging it probably about twice a week so far. We'll see if I use them more often because these are just so convenient. I know that I'm gonna be bringing them everywhere with me, and these will probably become a daily driver. Even though I'm more of a headphone guy, I really do like these as in-ear earbuds. So I know a lot of people are curious about the mic quality on these things, so this is the kind of audio quality you can expect from the AirPods Pro 2 in a quiet studio environment. And I think a lot of people, when they're taking Zoom calls or FaceTimes or stuff like that in this kind of environment, are going to be very, very happy with the audio quality coming out of these, because this is basically the industry standard and the most convenient microphone that most people have access to. So this is the test of the AirPods Pro 2 microphone out in the open. We have some music, we have some bars, we have quite a few loud people around right now. So I'm very curious to see how well it's rejecting the noise. But it seems like it's doing a pretty good job right now, so I guess we shall see. So what are my overall thoughts on the AirPods Pro 2? I think they are a very worthy upgrade over its predecessor. I think it's the upgrade we all expected. I think honestly it's kind of a no-brainer. If you use the AirPods Pro as an everyday user, these are going to be a great upgrade that you'll greatly appreciate for the better noise canceling, the better sound quality, and all the other features that are kind of important, but those two are the most important to me, and I think that a lot of people will appreciate that. Apple really had to up their game when it came to upgrading these because they have so much competition in this space now with so many good noise canceling in-ear earphones, and these really just level the playing field. I think that this is the upgrade we all expected, and I think that this puts Apple back at the top, if not the best on the market. I will be doing a comparison between the Sony WF-1000 XM4s in the coming days, so stay tuned for that if you want to see that kind of comparison. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. My name is Marc Steiner, and I'll see you next time.